Camp Rock.
Camp Rock. Camp Rock. We rock. That can only mean one thing. It's another episode of A Whole New Pod, the podcast all about Camp Rock.
Oh.
We're only Camp Rock from here on out.
Fully committed.
Though we only get this is the final Camp Rock.
Yeah.
I should say, I'm Lucas Melby.
I'm Yakub.
Camp counselor for this episode. Jacob's a junior counselor.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, we're the podcast all about Disney Channel original movies. And this is going to be a bit of a unique episode.
Wow.
But probably won't turn out to be too unique because I wanted to try something different with how we approach this podcast, this episode. I want to try something new. I thought maybe we should make this actually good. But that's probably not going to happen. I listen to an assortment of different movie podcasts, and they generally go in one or two ways. It's a movie discussion podcast where you kind of have to watch the movie. And then there's others like ours, but probably not quite to the extensive level of detail that we go into, that they just kind of recap the movie, go through it, discuss it, goof on it. I tried to not take too many notes to kind of just structure our conversation to be more broadly, but I still took plenty of notes.
Thank God.
This is mostly motivated by the fact that we are sitting in a room where, this has been discussed, I think, in previous episodes, where I do have an air conditioner, but it's right next to where I'm at.
We're very sweaty boys.
It's a window air conditioner, so we can't have it on when we record, and maybe even get some echo off of it throughout this episode. So we maybe want to try to keep this as short as possible because we're in a bit of a heat wave here in Minnesota. But we'll see how that goes. Because we also, later on, to stick all the way through to the end, we have a return of a fan favorite segment. I call it a fan favorite segment because
you're a fan.
I'm the number one fan, probably. If I wasn't a fan, at least moderately, of this show, we would not have made it to episode 80,
it would
Camp
not
Rock
exist.
2, the final jam. And being episode 80, it's definitely time to experiment.
Oh, no.
But as I said, this will be unique, but probably not that unique.
We'll resort to our old ways.
Jacob, I said, you gotta be more on the ball, you know? You're not maybe just gonna get by with nose whistling, throat clearing,
I could luck out,
yupping.
With any musical, as Camp Rock is, there's about, 25 minutes of song and dance.
So, to give kind of a more prompt for a discussion, Camp Rock 1. Speaking for myself, it wasn't even that many episodes ago, actually. Not the biggest fan I felt of Camp Rock 1. So going into this one, Jacob, what were you hoping to get out of Camp Rock 2?
More Jonas Brothers as a collective. In the first one, it's really just the one. I don't remember which one it is. Nick?
Joe Jonas.
So he's like really the only other one, like we were talking about earlier. The other two, you see them through phone calls or whatever, but they're not really, don't have prominent roles.
It was odd for... The Jonas Brothers definitely were popular at the time for it to seem to be more of a solo vehicle for them. Anything else you were really hoping? Because according to Wikipedia, this is the last DCOM sequel we'll get until Teen Beach Movie 2 in 2015.
So yeah.
So this will be a rare time where we won't have another movie for a while where it's like, we were looking forward to High School Musical 2.
Which is also saying, a lot of their movies that were coming out then weren't really too successful where they deemed they would need a sequel for the next 5 years.
Or that maybe they didn't make sense. I mean, where's my Den Brother 2? Zombies, though. We get at least a trilogy for zombies. As far as what I wanted out of Camp Rock 2, we'll get plenty of that throughout our discussion of this movie because I think this movie's pretty good.
It's not bad. It the production and the quality, I think, were almost on par to High School Musical.
Probably actually beyond.
Better, yeah.
I don't think the first movie, the first Camp Rock, it was maybe even lower quality than High School Musical 1.
Just the budget maybe, I don't know, just the choreography just seemed more extravagant.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay.
First off, it being a sequel, we're supposed to already know all these characters. So quick rundown of our characters. Main character, Demi Lovato playing Mitchie Torres.
Mitchie.
Also along for the ride, her mom, the camp cook, Her dad, not present at all. Hardly present in the original movie.
The mother,
we joked
too.
about that.
The mother, too, we've recently watched in the Wizards of Waverly Place
Yeah, please,
movie.
Jacob. On our drive over here, Jacob's like, this mom seems familiar. Yep, she was in the Wizards of Waverly Place. We start the movie. Who is this mom? I told you, Jacob.
Well, I was referring to, maybe I'd seen her in other, maybe like cop shows or something like that.
No, this is the cyclical conversations we had. Because when we were watching the Wizards of Waverly Place movie, this mom seems familiar. Oh, she's from Camp Rock. No, she must be in something more. No, fast forward to Camp Rock 2. Who is this mom?
I'm very, invested in her.
The mom, though, kind of gets a little friendly. Not too far, but it is more friendly in a way where this movie has lots of pairings of love interests up. So the mom spends a lot of time with the head of Camp Rock. Great character name. Brown, what is his name? Brown Cornelius? No, Brown Cesario. The Australian uncle to the Jonas Brothers, who are in the group Connect 3. The most important one coming off of Camp Rock 1 is Camp Rock. Shane Gray, who is played by Joe Jonas, who is the love interest of Demi Lovato. I don't actually really know. I think one of them's name is Jason. Throughout the discussion, I'm just going to be referring to them as Joe, Kevin, and Nick. Kevin, you might remember in our last episode, Jacob was really pushing that he looked like Drake Bell. Looks notably less like Drake Bell in this movie.
Well, as you were saying, all the hairstyles are completely different.
Yeah, 2 years makes a big difference. Weird friend is who I refer to is Caitlin, who was kind of... She's actually very much not in this movie very much. I didn't think she was a great actress in the first one. She was the one who had that weird, techno breakdown that they're like, this is amazing. It's like, it's actually not very good. She's in this. We won't talk about who Jacob maybe thought her or somebody else looked like. Tess Tyler was the mean girl in the first movie who had a pop star mom.
She's still kind of...
Well, we ended the original movie with her.
Should have been better.
In classic decom fashion. The mean person actually has a bad parent, so we actually should feel bad for them and they're redeemed. Well, they throw that out the window right away with her. They almost throw her entire character out a window.
Yeah, she's not very likable, so...
But she's even in less of this movie than the original one.
But she does serve maybe a bigger role in the end.
Well, I mean, we can maybe dive into that. Her friends who turned on her but then eventually accepted her back are Ella and Peggy. And that's about our cast of characters who is important for this movie. There's only really 3 new characters that are important overall that are introduced. Yeah. And I think we probably talked about how funny even just the setup of the original movie was, where we meet one of Demi's friends at school, but then it's just basically she made it into Camp Rock somehow. Go to Camp Rock. This one, it starts off on the road to Camp Rock, not fucking about anyways.
No, they do a little kind of an overview of the camp before we show them driving. Shows them setting up the camp.
The and memories we love
preparing.
Camp Rock.
But when they're pulling up to the camp, they notice another a new sign that wasn't there prior.
Mm-hmm.
And this new sign is for a new camp, a new rock camp.
No, this is Camp Star.
Camp Star,
where stars are born.
Yeah.
So we're reintroduced the characters. She meets up with her friends in the cabin. They seem to just scream nonstop in that kind of teen, oh my god!
A lot of screaming.
Connect 3. On their tour bus, it's broken down.
They have Huel along with them.
Yeah, Huel from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad is their bus driver, bouncer guy. They're trying to change a wheel on
it must have been a flat tire on the bus.
A cliff or something. Yeah. And eventually the bus just tips over into whatever body of water they're by.
Yeah, it's a full tour bus, and it has faces on the side.
That's the production value. It definitely wasn't an old decrepit bus that they just painted Jonas Brother faces on the side and be like, this is Connect 3's tour bus.
We see Huel running away as the bus starts to...
some mysterious destination. We never see him again.
Yeah, he might have got ran over by the bus and died. I just want to assume he died, because like you said, we don't see him again.
And eventually the Jonas Brothers hitch a ride on... a chicken pickup truck with a bunch of chickens in it.
Yes.
But before we get there... we start out with a showstopper because after Demi's met up with all of her friends, they've talked about, oh, there seems to be less people here, which doesn't seem to be the case because we get our first musical number, Brand New Day, starts out with an acoustic guitar until it's not, and it's a huge band song, and it's massive groups, so much choreography.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's probably 3 or 4 minutes long, maybe even longer.
And it's essentially
like a real music video.
Like a music video,
like a music
Jacob
video
said.
in like the movie, and this might be one of the better music video-esque segments in any.
Well, it immediately
decom we've
differentiates
seen.
itself from Camp Rock 1, where there wasn't really anything like this in it. There was big group numbers, but we've talked about in the different musical episodes we've done, they were diegetic, where they had the final jam that's referenced in the title of this one, where it was a performance that everybody was there together.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But this is clearly like done like in a musical movie style where everybody knows the choreography. It's a massive group of people dancing. They're all like, I don't even know how to really describe what they're doing. They're like puffing their chest out and like pumping their fists really aggressively. That seems to be
There's a lot of fist pumping and a lot of jostling of the upper body in this movie.
Seems to be their major choreographic style.
It just shows a lot of movement, man. It's just all about the body movements, man.
And this is great. This is exactly what I wanted out of Camp Rock 1.
Yeah.
Coming off of the High School Musicals, I wanted it to just be a musical.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's kind of interesting where it's like, I can kind of see why they didn't do this in Camp Rock 1, because it's like, oh, want to establish these characters, this place. But now that we know them, it's just like, hey, let's just have fun music stuff.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, obviously musicals do that all the time, where they just are musicals and they don't need to we don't need the origin movie to justify them just having fun in the second one. That's a major focus of this. It does get into some melodrama later on that's also very much like High School Musical 2. But this movie is just more fun. I think the music is better. We were talking at the end of the movie that there's like a couple of songs here and there that I didn't like that much. Whereas in Camp Rock 1, there was only a couple of songs here and there that I even liked at all.
I'd be curious to see what the allotment towards songs in each movie was. It felt like there were a lot more.
I kind of feel like Camp Rock 1 had a couple of songs that were like performed a couple of times because there was the whole mystery of Demi's song and who was performing it or whatever. Yeah. Speaking of Demi, I think they are, which I didn't realize when we did our first episode, Demi Lovato identifies with they, them pronouns. So if we misused her pronouns, we didn't mean that in the first episode. But in this one, I think they is a better singer, has improved or more matured more, and also has generally better acting ability. She doesn't put her face in flour, though. Or they doesn't put their face in flour.
Demi doesn't.
That's why I've tried to just say Demi Moore. Demi Moore.
Demi Moore.
Which was the highlight of the first movie.
No.
Already off to a great start.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember how High School Musical 2 also had a very similar opening. It was the last day of school. Mrs. Darvis represent.
Throw the papers in the air and they go ham.
But this movie maintains that energy going forward, where High School Musical 2 I didn't feel like did. The whole sequence ends and it's like, oh, was this the opening jam? Because they had all those different jams in the first one. Brown Why do I keep saying Brown Cesario?
Brown Cesario.
He comes up and is like, yeah, that was Demi Lovato. That was pretty tight,
that
right?
That sounds like a wrestler's name. Brown Cesaro.
Well, Antonio Cesaro was a wrestler.
Okay.
And is maybe coming back to WWE, if the rumors can be believed.
Spoiler alert.
But Jacob brought up earlier that we saw that Camp Star sign. That is going to be the primary conflict of this movie.
The villain.
Which is hilarious. We'll eventually learn that Camp Rock is run by, I think, Axel Turner, who is a former bandmate of Brown
Cesario.
In the band Wet Crows.
Wet Crows, yes.
We believe that's the name of their band.
Because we see like a poster that he motions to later on in the film.
And again, Brown is Australian.
Correct.
Either Alex or Axel is supposed to be, but he hardly sounds like he has an accent at all. He kind of reminds me of, I don't know, he kind of looks like when he wears his sunglasses, which he wears a lot in the movie, a sort of Ringo Starr kind of look.
And he is the father of one of the love interests and one of the new main characters.
That's like supposed to be the B plot, but it even kind of feels like a C plot almost.
To what would be the story?
So yeah, that is Dana, Axel Turner's daughter, played by Chloe Bridges, who I thought was more of a person, but I think I was getting her confused with somebody else.
She is not a singer. She is not a guitarist. No. She is a keyboardist.
And she's not the best actress, I would say. But she, talked about earlier, lots of pairings romantically in this. She is paired up with Nick Jonas, who in my mind is the Jonas I think of most of the time when I think of the Jonas Brothers. I don't know if he's been like the more breakout after the group disbanded or whatever. I think he's maybe the youngest, but Nick and Joe definitely seem like maybe they're the most popular, so they get the love interest in this. Kevin gets paired up with children. Not in a sexual way or a romantic way. He just, eventually we'll get into it, he becomes a camp counselor. But for now, we've set up this conflict. Camp Star, I think it's hilarious because this rivalry between them.
They introduced them with literally like a drive-by shooting.
After the opening jam, there's just motorboats driving by, and they're like, "Fuck Camp Star, bro!" And
so they shoot with, I don't know, guns, some kind of launchers.
And little care packages float down with parachutes.
Parachuted care packages.
Oh, what's in this? Marshmallows?
Chocolates, graham crackers, and something
you did
else.
The reveal of graham crackers, the kid's like, graham crackers?
He was, sorry.
That guy, we believe, is the same actor from the first movie who was asked what his mom is like, and he said, she's like a mom.
She's like a mom.
And it's not just a coincidence that these two campgrounds are next to each other. It's Axel. There's bad blood between them, and he's trying to stick it to Brown, where he's even... Yeah. They commented on there not being as many campers there, which is crazy because we saw more campers in the opening music number than in any other point in Camp Rock 1.
See, and not much time has passed either. It's only been a couple years.
Maybe even a year. Yeah. I think probably a year.
This guy has built literally like a compound. This new camp he's built is just massive. It's got a massive amphitheater. It's huge.
And it's pushed Camp Rock, even though Camp Rock in this first movie was built up as this is where all these stars are made.
Yes.
It's how you begin your career. It's a rite of passage. Now they've lost a bunch of campers to Camp Star, which is now treated like Camp Rock used to be, where it's like, this is how you get big. It's like, this camp it hasn't existed before. I don't know how it could be so established. But now it's pushed Camp Rock to the point of near destitution, where they don't have the money because of not enough campers coming in, which just seems crazy.
So yes, this is where they established that there's supposed to be less campers than normal, which we don't think is the case. We think there's more than usual, but...
Along with these care packages is an invitation to come to the opening bonfire at Camp Star.
Yes.
They come... and it's, as Jacob said, it's a big compound, just cement blocks. We see some of their different facilities. They got nice recording studios.
And all the Camp Rock people are like, wow, amazing. The one girl that we don't like, the trailer girl.
Tess Tyler.
Is saying, I haven't stopped saying amazing since I got here.
They've got air-conditioned cabins, which I don't even know if they really have cabins because everything seems to be made out of cement there.
Yeah. So, like I said, they're here for the campfire, but it's more than that. It ends up being a lot more than that. I don't even think there is a bonfire.
No, but fittingly, a song is performed here called Fire.
Ooh.
Performed by the actor's
Childish
name.
Gambino. Bonfire.
I don't remember his character's name because it's not as memorable as his performance name, which is Matthew M. Finley.
Oh, God.
Song called Fire. My notes say not fire.
No.
Not a big fan of this one. It's more supposed to be kind of like a pop, hip-hop style. I thought it maybe even felt like kind of a boy band performance. But he is the central figure in it. There's lots of backup dancers and singers. But it's just, it wasn't doing it for me.
No, we weren't feeling it.
One of the persons in the background, though, is, we mentioned,
keyboard
Dana,
girl.
who's playing the keyboard. And somehow when the song ends, she has, like, tossed a bracelet, or her bracelet has gone
off of her wrist and hits
Nick Jonas in the eye.
And he's like, oh my God. And she's, like, scared because she just, like, it's her Lucky Charm bracelet, I guess, and she doesn't know where it went.
And that sets up their whole relationship that kind of turns into this Romeo and Juliet thing where, we're from rival families. I mean, campgrounds.
Yeah, but my father won't let me see you.
My father hates your kind of uncle. We're really not sure how you're related to him.
Yeah.
It's not great. She comes up, and Nick is supposed to be awkward, but like she's also
like,
awkward,
well,
but just in
like
a bad
really,
acting
he's
way.
He's really weird.
Where she's like, "Oh, that's my lucky charm. I guess this is my lucky day seeing you." And he's like, okay. And she says, "I like your eyes."
And he's like, says, "Everyone tells me that."
Yeah, I get it a lot. See ya.
It was weird. And she asks him if he wants to keep the bracelet. And he's like, "What would I do with the bracelet?" And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, guys don't wear bracelets.
So, and then as soon as her dad must come up behind her, I think.
Her dad is always coming up either behind her or Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
And takes off his sunglasses dramatically.
Nick turns around and walks away, and he's like, "Stupid." And then he gives the answers that he wished he would have said. Yes, I would like your bracelet, and I also think your eyes are pretty. Like,
and this is classic, you know, I just watched a whole video series on YouTube breaking down all of iCarly. And this is, I mean, a huge part of iCarly. I don't know if you were that familiar with it. I only saw some episodes here and there, but there was a love triangle, or like, who is Freddie going to go? Is he going to go with Carly, or is he going to go with Sam?
Freddie got fingered.
Freddie would do stuff. He's like, "Oh, I can't believe I screwed up." And everybody's like, "Oh, I want him to go with this person." And this feels very much like that of like, Nick is awkward. He's screwing up. And the teens watching are like, "Oh, come on. I love Nick Jonas. I could be that girl. Nick Jonas could fall in love with me."
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why Joe and Nick, they're for the girls to self-insert into the roles of like Demi and
I could be playing a piano
Dana.
elevated over the
water.
water.
I could play a keyboard. NBD. But Kevin, nobody wants Kevin.
No, he loves his children.
We need to talk about
Kevin. He loves his children too much. We've established that.
Essentially, though, this performance is acting as a sales pitch for the camp counselors, which I didn't even know were counselors were really a thing in the first movie.
No.
But all of the camp counselors have decided to jump ship to work at Camp Star
because the guy is offered to double their pay. He also tries to steal the campers because he says that they're probably not cabins. They're probably like resort hotel rooms, but they're
probably cells.
Yeah, I mean, but they are have AC, and everybody's like, "Oh, tits, gotta get in on that."
Fortunately, not too many campers at this point are convinced because they already lost a bunch of campers. But Mean Girl Tess goes back to being a mean girl, erasing her character development from the first movie as little as it was. And she basically just becomes her character from the first movie.
That's for the best. So, like I said, we don't really like her as a character. She wasn't going to provide much anyways.
So this means that Uncle Brown announces that sadly Camp Rock will need to be canceled.
Yeah,
they don't have the staff.
Because he's so happy we didn't lose that many, campers.
Hey, good news first, isn't it? Hey, bro. Sorry, mate. That's all I got. That's the extent of my
We still got to close
accents.
down.
So Demi, in a very similar fashion
Demi Moore.
Sorry, it's Demi Moore. In a very similar fashion to High School Musical 2, where Troy kind of recruits all of his friends to work with him at the golf resort. She's saying,
same thing.
We can't back down. That's the title of the song.
Oh, no.
And similar aspects of some High School Musical songs.
Song.
This is in the mess hall cafeteria, and it's another big number. Lots of
pounding.
They pound a lot. Yeah, lots of fisting and pounding.
Lots of fisting. Yeah.
Aggressive choreography, and whereas the song Fire was not fire, here I'm saying this song's pretty fire.
We like Demi does a lot of like you said, she does a lot of the pumping of the fists, and there's, like I said, there's a lot of banging on tables, and part of the song is, I think, what was the name of it?
Can't Back Down.
Okay, so like Can't Back Down, so like
can't back down.
So it cuts to different camp counselors or the people that had volunteered with the camp counselors, like maybe walking away, like to go to the other thing, but she's pulling them back, and she's like, "Can't back down." But like everybody just keeps trying to leave, and she's pulling them back in.
My favorite part is at one point, it's not even really explicitly revealed. It's only like slightly at the side of the frame. Is that there's a DJ in a booth, spinning records this whole time.
Well, like I guess for most of the dance sequence, anyways, they're facing him. They're like singing to him,
Mm-hmm.
like they're. Yeah, I don't know. It was a fun
And this
scene.
is where I asked Jacob.
It was a good set.
How long he thought it would be for us until we see somebody dab in a Disney Channel original movie.
I don't know in popular culture when that became a thing.
Yeah. My fear, though, because it also has to be something in popular culture, and then Disney needs to learn about it, so then it'd be like a couple of years
2016,
after really
17? Or was it
maybe
way before that?
But this is maybe concerned about, is there going to be flossing and stuff?
Yeah.
Fortnite dances and like zombies too, or is all the choreography just going to be flossing?
I guess it'd be flossing before there's dabbing.
Wow. Bet now. All right, that's the bet. Jacob is team floss. I'm team dab.
Oh, no.
All right, so that means...
If dabbing was a thing, though, it definitely would have happened in this movie with those younger kids.
Hell yeah.
Had it been a thing. But it's not yet. It was a thing.
That's also the difference from Camp Rock 1 is there's children here. Like 10-year-old kids where...
Yeah.
And that's who Kevin's hanging out with the whole time.
Yeah.
Because he's one of the new counselors they secure. Basically, all of the characters we named at the beginning of our discussion are camp counselors. And Mitchie is in charge for some reason. She's like running people's schedules and stuff. And it's like, what the fuck is Uncle Brown doing? He's just bitching all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know what his job is. The kids are the ones that seem to get everything done, and Demi's,
in the
Demi's
first
mother
movie,
is,
I think he did some classes maybe, but in this one, he doesn't seem to do anything.
Demi's mother is like only ever in charge of cooking.
I mean, that's probably all she really needs.
They do mention that she is taking phone calls, I guess, towards the end of the movie, so I guess she has more roles than just maybe being the cook.
Sure.
But those are the only two real adults here at the camp, right?
Yes. Yeah. Besides maybe some background dancers who are supposed to be teenagers that are actually definitely adults.
Yes.
So Kevin, he's teaching a class of how kids can make their own like guitars or something. But these kids...
He's building a birdhouse at some point.
These kids just giving him a hard time.
They're mean. He walks into the cabin... And he's like, yeah, who's ready to rock? And they're like, get him. And then, I don't know, they just like rush him and they start just destroying the cabin. And he's like, how are you ever going to learn if you just, don't respect me?
And I almost even forgot to put it in my notes, but there's a very odd sequence where he thinks he's getting better in touch with the kids in this classic kind of daddy daycare situation.
And they tie him up and they put mayonnaise in his hair. No.
Oh, I missed that.
No. It does not happen.
But he's sitting around a fire with them, and he's like, oh, this is so nice. And he gets up to walk around, and they've glued a log to his butt.
Yeah.
And one of the kids says, log butt. We're going to call you log butt. And I just felt like that order, that was like Yoda saying that to him, where really it should have gone, we're going to call you log butt.
Yes.
So... That's my one note for Camp Rock is fix the order of those lines. Meanwhile, Nick Jonas, who is a counselor, is creeping on that Dana girl.
Yeah, he is a creeper. He's got his binoculars.
And really the most baffling aspect of this movie is these camps are both simultaneously close enough that he can kind of just binoculars look at them, but then also they always have to take boats to get to them.
Yeah, they're always canoeing.
But Dana... we established she plays the keyboard. She also just practices piano that's like on a scaffolding rigged over the edge of a lake.
It does look pretty cool. I do like the setup. It doesn't seem very
cool, but
practical.
it's insane that exists, and we never really see, like, they purposefully seem to never let us see close.
Well,
they go over there, but it's like not the center of attention when it's like, this is insane.
You can't see...
It seems to be like glass too, so it's like you'd be floating above the air to like then look down or something.
I don't know if you can see any part of the actual other camp other than that.
It seems
that's the
to
only
be just
thing you can see.
There's one like cliff jutting out, and this is the only thing there.
So what we get out of that is like they just built this just for that scene, and it's the only thing you could really see.
I guess she is the daughter of the guy. But
what I'm saying is like there's actually not another camp nearby that did film it in another location.
Thank you, Jacob.
Which is, but they could have.
Tell me how movies. Hey, you see that house there? They're inside it. It looks like they're inside a house.
They're not. It's a set.
What?
But I'm saying is there are camps where there are other camps on the same lakes, is what I'm saying. Like, there could have been this actual amphitheater, this hell of a...
Yeah, no, I know they didn't build the concrete compound just for Camp Rock, too.
Maybe they did. They were willing to sacrifice an entire tour bus.
Tour?
Did
you do that on purpose? Some more High School Musical 2 vibes. Tubi vibes.
Tubi TV. You guys watch Tubi TV?
Tubi's got some crazy stuff on there.
Big in the Tubi.
Because Demi and Joe, they're never having time to just hang out. They had been emailing in between camps, but this is going to be their time to really connect after their first movie. And Demi's just too busy running all these counselors and
because
stuff.
She overhears her mother and the main guy talking about something, and then she really takes
By
it upon
over here,
herself.
she's just standing in the doorway,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
don't notice her listening in.
But yeah, she hears them say something that panics her, and then that's when she really kind of steps up her, like, I'm in charge, this is how things
Yeah,
need
I think
to be
that
done.
happens around here where, to make the conflict even more, like, stark, is they challenge, Camp Wars. Camp Wars.
Yeah.
That should have been Camp Rock 2 Camp Wars, not Camp Rock 2 the final jam.
Camp Wars.
But I did want to say that High School Musical 2 vibes with this tension between the two love interests, but that's also like such a sequel thing. I watched all of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies recently. Spider-Man 1, Mary Jane, Peter Parker, not together. Spider-Man 2, they're not together, but they end up together. Well, then what do we do with them in Spider-Man 3? They fight because Mary Jane doesn't think he's paying enough attention to her.
Yeah.
So what do you do to develop like a relationship in another movie? Well, you can't just have them be happy all the time, I guess. So they have to
Gotta be conflict,
force in
man.
some stuff like this, and it's almost identical to stuff that happens in High School Musical 2.
Camp Rock.
But yes, Camp Wars. This is the only scene of this movie I saw before watching this, and it's amazing. And we paid homage to it at the beginning of our episode. All of the Camp Rock rockers, all the kids, the teens,
must canoe over
march
there.
into
Oh no,
the
yeah.
compound.
So they march around the lake then.
We assume they probably boated over, actually.
Oh,
but they march in, doing their aggressive arm and hand choreography. Camp Rock! And they're clapping. We won't clap on the mics, though. The other kids for Camp Star are like, oh my god.
This is very intimidating.
I'd be losing my mind.
It was pretty intense.
You know, you
camping.
gotta pump yourself up somehow. And it's on.
It is, like Donkey Kong.
And that's the name of the song that they perform. It's on. Very similar to High School Musical 2, the kind of baseball challenge song. It's a challenge song. They're challenging them to Camp Wars. All of the kids are involved, including the Camp Star kids. They are doing lots of extensive choreography.
They call them the
like
JRs, right? Oh, no. Sorry.
No, there's children at present, and they sometimes call them the JRs instead of juniors, which is a fact that Jacob picked up on while we were watching the movie. He's like, oh, they call them that because they're kids. And no, Jacob, his mind is a
They are
scary
there,
place,
though. There are children there.
Early onset dementia in his late 20s. But there's a lot of fun choreography. They're in like the stands. They're doing kind of like crossover, like groups walking across each other.
There are flips. People are flipping the one guy that dances from the previous evening.
Yeah, it ends with a really fun
names.
sequence. It's a really long take where they're moving between groups of dancers. One point in the transition, as they're panning over, a guy just runs up, flips off of the wall.
Yeah.
And he actually runs off screen to then come back in the final group later on. Just well done choreography, lots of fun stuff. Exactly what I want out of these musicals and what I didn't get in Camp Rock 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was another music video-esque.
And it goes for a really long time because there's a part where there's a rap off between the hip kids between both camps. Yeah. There's a drum off and a guitar off between the different sides. It's fun stuff.
Yeah.
My note says awesome! Exclamation point.
There is a jerk off too. The leader of this other camp.
Before I knew his name, I just said evil camp star lead.
Yeah,
he's sitting in the audience. He's like, hey. I could rock with that shit.
He's not sitting. He's walking down the aisles in his glasses, his sunny shades.
He's walking down aisles. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you highlighted this. You said, look how menacing
Sorry,
he
I thought
is.
the way you said in his glasses just made it seem weird, but it's like, no, that's a sentence that makes sense.
Yeah. He looks very spooky.
I shouldn't always try to jump on Jacob to correct him.
He starts walking down and then he starts clapping. He just starts clapping and clapping, and then people kind of stop, and then he's like,
Camp
great
Wars.
job.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
But what about this? We do it on TV.
television.
And then I just say, how? Well, he is a big hotshot
He's got a
music
lot of
producer.
pull. He's got a lot of pull, and he has
connections.
obviously a lot of money if he can build a compound for dancing and singing and prancing.
So the challenge is on, and this is where Brown Cesario is talking to the mom, being like, they can't do it. We don't got the resources. We're Camp Rock. In the first movie, we were great, but now apparently we're the worst camp ever.
Because all the kids have left.
So hearing that and this competition coming on has turned Demi into a bossy bitch.
Yeah, she's a boss-ass bitch.
Bossing everybody around, saying like, hey, stop joking, laughing, get to work. prompts one girl to say she's taking the FUN
out of summer.
The FUN out of summer. There's no fun in summer. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the one guy's like, if I wanted to do this, I would have joined the other, camp. And she's like, well, if you want to lose the camp. Well, there were two characters that just kept laughing at one another, and they wanted to tell her the joke. And she's like, well, it must be that your sister...
It's a hilarious story about his sister.
Yeah, your sister must be telling you how they lost the camp because nobody wanted to do anything to save it.
Well, to cut to the tension, Joe Jonas starts a massive water balloon water fight.
What is his sentence that, squirt, or what does he say?
Splash,
squirt. Oh, he walks in and he says,
rise and squirt.
It's that scene, all work and no play, or all work and no squirt makes kids a doll. Something
all squirt, no play.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's really, it's I don't know.
Watch the movie, I guess we're saying. And yeah, it's a pretty crazy scene. It lasts maybe a couple minutes. It's fun. That's also something I missed in the first Camp Rock is there's not enough
just fun
camp stuff.
This is what they needed though, because Downtown Brown, the main guy, is saying this is just what they needed, and so
this is proper rock and roll.
Yeah, so Demi's getting all mad. She doesn't like this is happening. She wants to be serious, and so is her mother. Her mother's upset, and Downtown Brown's like, this is what they needed.
I think she's maybe just seeing that her daughter is not happy about it. So
I suppose, yeah.
This leads to more drama though, because Joe asks Demi out on a moonlight picnic.
Yeah, he shows up at her cabin, and he has brought...
She says, how dare you?
Yeah.
Why would you ask me that when I have all this work and planning and music writing to do? How dare you?
All work and no squirt makes Demi a dull girl.
So, just like in High School Musical 2, we get a kind of third act breakup song.
Yeah, well, because he maybe thinks she's... I don't know. Maybe, I don't think he thinks he's joking at all, but because she hands him his picnic basket, and then he's about to walk away, and she's like, hey, you forgot your whatever.
You forgot your flashlight.
To
shove up your ass.
Yeah, she's really mean here for a good 15 minutes.
And I think I remember liking the breakup song decently in High School Musical 2.
It was good.
I think this one's better. I think it's a duet song similar to High School Musical 2 of people singing together, but they're not really geographically
this
together.
This also happens in Cheetah Girls.
It's called Wouldn't Change a Thing.
It is good.
And I just think Demi and Joe have really nice harmonies in this. There's some lyrics comparing how they're really not similar at all, but they wouldn't change a thing. Like fire and rain, like Venus and Mars.
Wow.
And this is where I felt, it was Demi seems a lot better. And not that she was bad in Camp Rock 1, but she seemed just more confident, and her voice had maybe matured or become more honed. And despite maybe it seemed like, maybe they do like each other because they wouldn't change a thing. At the end of the song, they're close together geographically again. They lock eyes and be like, no, I don't like you. And they both go into their cabins. But then the next morning, Demi wakes up. Where is everybody? Well, Joe has been inspired by their song the previous night to have whipped them all into shape to then practice for the camp wars. But they don't have enough pizzazz to really match the camp star campers. So we get another song. They just bam, 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 rolling them out. Heart and Soul, which is fitting that I think that's the name of a Stevie Ray Vaughan song, because this song has lots of references to other rock and roll
Blue
musicians.
Suede Shoes. They mentioned some guy from Van Halen. There's a couple other name drops.
And it's essentially the Jonas Brothers, being the real band Connect 3, teaching all of the kids how to kind of amp up their performance, because they maybe have the technical skills, but they need to be a little more showy and impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm not the greatest music head. I don't have all the words and terminology. But this song kind of reminded me of Franz Ferdinand, that kind of style of take me out. I don't know if that's post-punk, post-pop punk or whatever. But another song I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good song.
At the end, Nick Jonas seems to be kind of walking high, wearing sunglasses, rolls up to a bench where he is surprised by Dana being there.
He falls over.
Tips the bench over.
Tips over. He breaks his spine.
It's supposed to be we would think a cute kind of thing, but Nick Jonas still is kind of blowing her off because she's like, I risked my way coming here. And he's like, Sorry,
I
broad.
risked my father's
Sorry, girl.
wrath.
I don't know what you want from me.
He's still awkward here. Yeah, he's like...
There was one time he did sneak over to Camp Star, and she's like, I accidentally wrote your name on my wrist in permanent marker. Oh my gosh, why would I do that?
He's like, nobody ever wrote my name on their wrist before.
And I'm like, what is going on?
And then her dad's coming in, and then he hides underneath the canoe.
Is this what teens are like?
Yeah, he hides underneath the canoe in the water like Jack Sparrow and Will Turner. And he walks his way back across the lake.
But in this situation, she's just like, I haven't learned anything about you. You haven't told me. It's like, you guys have had like 2 conversations this whole movie. Like, he hasn't had an opportunity.
Their complete interactions are looking through through binoculars to one another from across a lake.
Yeah, we've kind of seen all their interactions.
Their
and they
first
haven't had
interaction was with... At the first thing, and her father interrupts. Here, this is their second interaction together, and the father interrupts.
But really, it's just supposed to coincide with the Demi-Joe drama, that we just get some more forced melodrama here. We get kind of a sad montage set to a song. Well, we don't see them singing in the movie, but it's a Joe Jonas, Demi Lovato song. You're My Favorite Song is the name of the song.
Wow.
At the end of it, partially because of Joe kind of helping everybody get whipped into shape, they make up, it seems. And Joe is kind of like, he had been kind of saying, I don't get girls. You know what? Girls aren't that important. And Joe then tells Nick, he's like, hey, you know what? Girls kind of tight. You know what I'm saying? So he gives him some advice on girls. So then Nick goes to Camp Star to make up with Dana. He did a little Scooby-Doo sneaking.
Ooh, love our Scooby-Doo.
Jacob liked a lot that he's teleporting around.
Yeah, that was a fun little scene.
And another really fun song, he is saying, hey, you know, you don't really know who I am, Dana. I can't find the words to say it, but I can find the words to sing it.
Ooh.
And the song is Introducing Me, which is a very cutesy song, just him and an acoustic guitar. And I feel like this song was maybe, as kids say, low-key influential, because it sounds very similar in vibes to Lazy Song, or the Lazy Song by Bruno Mars, the I don't wanna do anything,
or also the Justin Bieber Mistletoe song,
Under the Mistletoe.
Yeah.
And parts where he's just like do 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 do. That's not to the beat. I can't do it without it in my head. I don't know why I wrote down all this stuff thinking I'd be able to do it. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
And it's like, I'm a cold-hearted, cynical, late 20s man, and I'm having a good time with this. I'm sure this just blew the fucking walls off the house for all the teen girls watching this movie.
Wow.
I'm not going to say anything.
What you're trying to say is this was a real horny teen romp of a film?
That's what Jacob said. Care to elaborate at all, Jacob?
They might hint, and they might, talk about a few things. There might be a little bit of tension.
Well, somebody who isn't getting any of that is Kevin, who is not only in charge of the children, but also bunks with them. He stays in their cabin, and he harangues them all to go on a sneaking mission over to Camp Star. They're wearing bushes on their heads to go through the forest. They get to Camp Star, and it looks like there's a spotlight showing on them, so that you would think they'd been found out, but they're not.
It is, and this is where we kind of had a little discussion about how it was chosen to be the audio, I guess, of what's going on at this point.
Yeah, it's essentially they're trying to spy to be like, oh, what are they doing for their song?
Get some intel, yeah.
And they are seeing it, and we're seeing them seeing it, but all of the audio is cut out so that we're not spoiled on what the actual song is. So it makes sense what they're doing, but it's just executed in a little awkward way. And it's funny that, like, they're treating this as if it was like a shonen battle manga of, even if you know what their song is, what can you possibly do within a day? Or it's like, ooh, they're doing this, so that must mean their weakness is this, so we'll do this to them. But that's kind of what they do, is they see that it's going to be a song featuring Tess and M. Dot. Yeah. So they say, well, Joe and Demi, you're our best singers. You guys got to do it. But then Demi announces that, and she sees some sad kids because they're like, oh, we thought we were going to do it as a group. So Demi goes and sees the kids, and they're like, yeah, we kind of would have liked to sing, but it's okay. It's been a great summer. You've actually enjoyed yourself this summer? Yeah, check out my video camera, filled with tons of funny bits of us fucking around with log butt. I mean Kevin Jonas.
Yeah, well, remember the one kid's camera goes into the water at some point. One of the Jonas Brothers knocks the kid's camera into the water, so I don't know how... Oh, no, the Jonas Brother had to jump into the water and scoop it out, but I don't know how it still worked after it was in the lake. Apparently it did.
Put that in the goofs section. And then, that seems to have inspired Demi a little bit, and we'll see how that plays out, because Camp Wars is starting, and it's going to be on Hits TV. I can't remember if that's the name, because there was some kind of MTV thing in the first Camp Rock, because I think the final jam got televised. I don't remember if it was Hits TV in that. We get some stuff with Tess backstage, and I'm just reminded of like, oh yeah, Tess has had no development this movie at all. And it seems like they're going to still try to twist it on us at the end because her male partner, M. is kind of mean to her and saying like, hey, don't forget your lines and stuff. So it's like, well, Tess has been a bitch the whole movie, but somebody was mean to her. So now we feel bad for her. So now it's okay to like her again. Yes. Camp Star's song is called Tear It Down. It's another one that's more hip hop, poppy. As I said, it features Tess and M. And it's not great. It's probably the worst song in the movie.
We don't have, I mean, it's definitely not as good as like the first performance from that camp.
Which is weird because it's supposed to be treated as like, oh,
this is their competition.
Everybody's gonna vote for this. We're gonna sell this as a single out there. This is some good shit. And I'm like, nah, this sounds bad, dog. Quote Randy Jackson. It's gonna be a no from me, dog.
But this is also kind of when we get, we're educated that the bad camp guy,
Axel Turner,
has kind of paid for votes.
Which is like, who fucking cares?
Because everybody is getting text to their phone that says, vote for, whatever.
American Idol style, you text the number to vote for.
So he's paid
Camp
for
Star.
all this marketing and stuff.
But Camp Rock hasn't even performed yet.
No, so they don't really ever address that. Like, it's never like any shade thrown like, and you paid for your votes, kind of thing.
And then it's time for Camp Rock's song. It is called What We Came Here For. Or maybe it's What We Come Here For. Probably came. My writing's a little messy. And very similar to High School Musical 2, starts out as a duet between Joe Jonas and Demi, but ultimately becomes an ensemble number. Lots of people up on stage, big celebratory
love all
dancing.
Of our extras. We love everything.
People jumping on trampolines, doing
a good
kind
song
of like
too.
pole dancing.
A much better song, a much better execution. There's fire. There's these circle things that they look through, and
there's a video screen that's showing the kids' videos up there that are mostly of them doing pranks to Kevin Jonas.
Despite the kid being in the video who was supposed to be recording.
Yes, according to IMDb goofs.
Yes, a real goof.
And I think I remember liking the final song in Camp Rock 1 the most just because it was another closer to like a musical big group number.
Yeah.
And this isn't my favorite song in the movie. I don't even really know necessarily which one is, but is another really fun finishing song, I would think. But it actually isn't even the last song in the movie.
No.
But Axel Turner did cheat, and he did win. And they show this in a fairly, I don't know. We are always grading on a curve with decom movies, but a fairly nuanced approach where it's actual proper slow motion, not, Disney Channel slow motion where it looks like shit.
Really bad. No, it is. Like I said, like the whole production of this film and the execution was good. I'd be curious to see who directed it and what else they might have did in terms of decoms.
But it's a dramatic reveal. The sound cuts out. We just see everybody slowly react. And all our characters are crying because they find out that Camp Star won.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's make sure the love stories are tied up. Dana and Nick Jonas, they both congratulate each other, say they did a good job. That's all cool. Demi and Joe, they kiss. That's nice. And now we're back at Camp Rock. Everybody's around a campfire. And we get another kind of zigzag song where it starts out where I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a sad song, maybe a mournful song. But no, this is our song. And we're happy.
So the director of this movie was Paul Hohen.
Oh, of course.
Who directs the Zombies movies.
Okay, but didn't he direct Camp Rock 1 as well?
He did another, looks like Let It Shine. That's a Disney channel.
I feel like you called out like a guy who did the zombies movies, and he directed a movie I didn't like very much. I think it was Camp Rock 1. But anyways, Jacob, you like this song a lot, right? This is
the one where they're at the fire,
campfire.
Yeah, this might have been my one of my favorite songs.
Oh, never mind. This guy has directed a lot of good ones. He's directed Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, True Confessions, Cheetah Girls One World, which is my favorite Cheetah Girls. Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. It was Dad Napped. Dad Napped. A rare miss for Paul Hohen.
No, he has some good.
Read
It
and Weep. Yeah. Though apparently he also did How to Build a Better Boy, which I've heard is quite bad. Anyways, it's a fun campfire song. Everybody's clapping around to it as they get warmed up. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. I'm clapping, Jacob's clapping, but also all the Camp Star people, they're rolling up in their boats like the freaking like Fellowship of the Ring.
And everybody that kind of walks up is talking to Dr. Brown, and they're telling him, I want my mom to sign me up.
I mean, it's
here.
Cool we won, but I'm fucking coming here. We don't have campfires over there.
Even the Tess girl, right? Tess?
Oh, of course.
Says, I want to work for you next year. And he's like, yeah, okay.
Well, I just got off the phone.
With my mom.
We're number one. That was the president. He wants his daughters to come here. They all sing along. They're clapping, going, na, 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 or whatever.
Na, 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 na.
Jacob has a much better memory of these songs than I do.
It was good. It was a good ending to a good decom.
And yes, that was the end.
But was it?
Because then we cut to what is the trend of all these movies. We joked about bloops, wanting bloops, but now we just got all these fake fucking bloops.
Yeah, this one was kind of cheesy.
Where it wasn't even a scene that was in the actual movie, but it's like, they're screwing up doing this thing where they've written Camp Rock counselors on the knuckles of their
Each
hands.
one had a different, one had CAMP, one had ROCK.
Yeah, they understand.
So
respect our listeners.
But I mean, it's like take 23, take 49.
It sucked.
And like all they
made me hate this movie.
They're just laughing. It was really like the downfall of the movie. It really. You feel lifted up throughout the whole film, and just the very ending doesn't stick the landing.
And I just want to be like, fuck, Camp Rock! And I'm kind of sad now. High School Musical 2, I watched that, and I'm
it's over, but Paul Hohen is not over.
Paul Hohen never dies. Paul Hohen's still a threat.
He just did the
Zombies 3.
The new High School Musical thing that just came out a couple years ago.
High School Musical, the series.
He does that.
Streaming only on Disney+.
He does that. So he's in our life for seemingly the next decade.
He's a force to fucking reckon with.
Paul Hohen.
Paul Hohen is going to make you his bitch.
Yeah, we like Paul.
So yeah, I think this movie is, not to be too... I think this movie rocks.
Top 70%?
I think I might need to find somewhere my top 10 to fit this in there.
Oh, man.
I think, in some ways, I think I like this more than the original High School Musical. But I have to kind of give respect of like High School Musical
paving the way
at first, paving the way.
But not necessarily, because I mean, when did
You don't need it. You can't tell me how to.
No, I mean, just saying that because High School Musical came out how many years before that?
High School Musical created the musical, Jacob.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was going to refer to.
High School Musical was 2007?
And then what was... So the other one would have been 09 then? Or 08?
Yeah, I think it was High School Musical 1, 2006, High School Musical 2, 2007. Okay. They didn't even have the 2-year gap.
Wow.
Which they maybe needed because High School Musical 2 kind of a
And this was a 2010 film.
Yeah, this one had 2 years between Camp Rock 1 and this.
So, I mean, they saw the success that they had on High School Musical, and they just rode that.
And I was kind of under the impression that Camp Rock was of like the caliber of High School Musical, but actually Camp Rock 2 had a lower rating than Camp Rock 1.
And to me, that's very confusing because of just how big I assumed the Jonas Brothers were.
It was only a difference of like a couple 100,000 viewers.
Yeah.
And we got to start remembering as
usually the sequels, though, are bigger, though, right?
True.
Yeah.
They would hope. Maybe why we didn't get a Camp Rock 3. But we're getting to the era, we're in 2010, where
Netflix,
we're starting to see people getting away and cutting the cord, getting away from cable, to where we're at now, where
they get like a couple 100,000.
Yeah, we look at the ratings. Nobody, like if you got what this movie got, which was like an 8 million, close to 9 million rating, I think. That would be like insane for anything nowadays.
Like the only other ones that would probably be big now, or maybe even break a million, would be like Zombies or something like that.
Yeah, I was looking because I know like The Descendants. I thought was like such a big thing. I looked at The Descendants. I think it was like less than 10 million.
Yeah.
So now especially it's like, well, they might get put on Disney Channel, but it's just content to put up on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So we can't really... High School Musical 2 will never be
a tough gauge.
defeated as the number one ratings-wise.
No,
but yeah, I thought laid out pretty clear. Like, I like the songs, better performances, both acting and singing, better choreography, more campground fun.
Do you remember if we said...
5th of September?
Oh, September 11th. Do you remember if what we said in the first
We did
one?
the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
And if I recall correctly, I maybe compared the Jonas Brothers to Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, they would have worked with them.
So I don't really know who we do in this movie.
Demi.
Demi, you know what? We got a different segment to get to. Demi could not have stopped 9/11.
Demi convinced everybody to work together to, save the camp. Maybe she could have convinced them to land the planes.
All right, fair played. If you want to, you can give us your fan fiction answer of who would have done it. Write us at awholenewpod@gmail.com. But as teased at the beginning, and will lead to this episode basically being as long as any of our normal episodes, we have the return of our semi-recurring segment, though this is the second time ever, a whole new pop, which is probably always going to just end up being a Mountain Dew freaking like PR corner thing.
Yeah, we got to get signed.
Because there's not a lot of innovation within the beverage space.
No, it's them doing their summer
We're not
drinks,
getting the crazy, Crystal
drinks.
Pepsi Blue anymore. It's just Mountain Dew. And Mountain Dew's actually been kind of going like a little too crazy with new flavors recently. We covered Flaming Hot previously.
That one was awful.
And this time, I think there's a couple variants of Baja Blast out there. So this is a sub-variant of Baja Blast. Of course, Baja Blast primarily, or I believe exclusively sold at Taco Bell, but then they usually release it for everyone, the populace, the plebeians, in the summertime.
The real plebs.
But now we have Baja Blast Gold, which is Dew with a blast of natural and artificial pineapple flavor.
And you've never had this one either?
I have not.
Okay.
A friend of ours, or maybe more a mutual acquaintance, I don't want to speak on Jacob's behalf, but Coulter. Okay. He reaches out to me because, especially with doing this podcast, it maybe sounds like I'm a fucking like Dew head, like, yeah, fucking Dew skis, bro. I don't really drink that much Dew. I like they have Major Melon, that's their watermelon one.
Major Melon.
That was pretty good. But I'm more of just a straight Coca-Cola guy.
I'm a straight cocaine guy.
You know me. Camp Rock. But he's like, hey, you tried Mountain Dew Gold? And I'm like, shit, I don't even know what that is. And he told me, and I looked up, oh, I guess there's 2 flavors I gotta track down. Look at the store earlier in the week. Ain't got nothing there, but I found it in a vending machine at my job.
Oh, wow, weird.
Along with some Flaming Hot Mountain Dew, and I'm like, no, ain't tricking me on that one. So I will...
We got some gold here. And it looks gold.
It looks like a bottle
urine.
Of extremely dehydrated piss.
Yeah.
Nice. Pineapple soda isn't like... It
doesn't burn the nostrils, you're saying, like the last one did?
Pineapple soda isn't an unheard of thing. You know, there's Fanta and stuff like that.
It looks like a different color in there than it does in the bottle. Kind of.
I think some of that's the glass.
Tinting on the glass, okay.
They released, I think, last summer or the summer before, like a pina colada one. So that had more like coconut
if you like pina
tones
colada.
To it. That one was a bit much.
What was the name of that one?
I don't even remember. And I made the mistake of buying a 12-pack of that.
Oh, no.
But then I passed off a lot onto our friends to be like, hey, maybe this is good to mix with drinks. And it was okay, but that was one that you really needed to have cold and maybe in like a glass of ice to kind of cut down on some of the stronger flavors.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to get up to hand Jacob his glass.
Oh, boy. So I got to sniff it, do the sniff test here.
I think it's got a nice
smell. It's very strong, though. It's really, I don't know, what is it, citrusy?
Sure, you call pineapple citrus. I mean, Mountain Dew just normally is citrus, so.
It is very strong.
Oh, you take your swig of it, and
we got to do it at the same time, don't we?
Well, I'm just doing it from the bottle.
ASMR, it. It's not bad.
No.
It's not.
It's another one where Flaming Hot.
The aftertaste is like a pineapple.
Yeah, it's not because as I was saying, Mountain Dew, it's already a citrus soda.
Yeah, when it hits your lips, you really...
When it hits your lips like a big pizza pie.
That's amore. So it is, what would you call that? It's like a burn? Is that how you would describe like a citrus flavor?
I was going to say Mountain Dew already is citrus. There's already kind of a very distinctive quality to Mountain Dew that I feel like is always the undertones in lots of these Mountain Dew variants. And that's kind of what it is there. There's some tones of pineapple, but I'll take another swig.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I never really liked Mountain Dew, because it does. It kind of like burns your throat, doesn't it, a little bit?
Well, all soda does that. That's carbonation.
Yeah.
That's why I like Coca-Cola so much, because Coca-Cola is more like strong with its carbonation. Yeah, definitely that last bit, more of a pineapple. Not bad. I wouldn't
recommend it.
I wouldn't say take that away from me if it was offered to me, but I'm not going to go out and buy a fucking 12-pack
or whatever. It's not bad. Did you end up throwing away the last bottle?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I did not drink the rest of Flamin'
This one
Hot.
you'll finish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not tonight because, got to balance out my sugar consumption.
Intake. Yeah, not bad.
I had a Monster earlier today.
But if you do like the weird flavors of Mountain Dew, if you went out and tried that Flaming Hot, you can give this one a shot.
So that was a whole new pop.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestions, again, feel free to send those in our way through our email account I already read off, or our Twitter account, AWN Pod. Run by our good bud, Dunstan. Shout out.
He's always checking in.
Find us on YouTube at youtube.com/a-whole-new-pod. Like, comment, subscribe on our stuff there, as well as Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify.
Everywhere.
You know the deal. And in hopes to reduce how much wet noise we've got from Jacob over there, I'm just going to say apologies for Camp Rock.
All right, pal, you're cornered now. Why don't you tell me about your sick, twisted plan? I seek to fundamentally alter the violence perpetuated by our greedy system. I want to take the necessary action to end homelessness, poverty, and extreme crime. I believe a better world is possible. We will punish those who allow the poor to go hungry, and we will right the wrongs of this cruel society. That doesn't sound very bad. That actually sounds pretty good. We're also going to punch a baby in the face. You sick son of a bitch! Oh, you're going down, bud.